That €80 Autonomo fee? It's a trap. Let's start with the most expensive mistake expats make on the Costa del Sol. You arrive, you have your UK limited company or your US LLC, and you think you can just continue invoicing from your apartment in Marbella. This is a fundamental misunderstanding of how Spain works. The Spanish tax authority, the Hacienda, does not care where your company is incorporated. It cares where you live. If you spend more than 183 days a year in Spain, you are a Spanish tax resident. Period. This means you are liable for Spanish tax on your worldwide income. Keeping your foreign company is not a clever workaround. It's a red flag for the tax office. They see a Spanish resident who is the director and sole employee of a foreign entity, and they correctly conclude that the permanent establishment of that business is right here in Spain. This creates a complex and expensive problem involving corporate tax, personal income tax, and potential penal IEs for non-declaration. We've seen cases where expats have had to pay years of back taxes at high marginal rates because they thought their Delaware C Corp provided a shield. It doesn't. The first rule of business in Spain is to align your business structure with your personal tax residency. Your life is here, so your economic activity must be registered here too. The first real decision you'll make is choosing your structure. Will you be a sole trader, known as an Autonomo, or will you form a limited company, a Sociedad Limitada, or SL? The answer is almost purely mathematical. For most freelancers, consultants, and small service providers, Autonomo is the correct and most efficient choice. As a general rule, if your net profit, that's revenue minus expenses, is under €50,000 per year, the simplicity and lower administrative cost of being Autonomo wins every time. Between €50,000 and €80,000, it becomes a grey area. This is where you need to model your specific situation. But once your net profit consistently exceeds €80,000 a year, the SL becomes a serious consideration. The reason is tax rates. As an Autonomo, all your profit is taxed as personal income, or IRPF, with marginal rates that can reach 47%. An SL, however, pays a flat corporate tax rate, which is currently 25% on profits. The key is that this lower rate only applies to money you retain inside the company. As soon as you pay yourself a salary or dividends, you pay personal income tax on that money. So, the SL is most powerful when you earn enough to live comfortably while leaving at least 30% of the profits inside the business to reinvest or grow. If you need to extract every euro you earn each month, the tax advantage of an SL shrinks dramatically. If you've heard anything about being self-employed in Spain, you've heard about the Tarifa Plana. This is the discounted social security contribution for new Autónomos, which starts at around €80 per month. And it is the single most dangerous misconception in the expat business community. That €80 is not the cost of doing business in Spain. It is a temporary 12-month runway provided by the state. After that first year, and for the following year, the discount lessens. And after that, your social security contribution is calculated based on your declared net income. For most professionals, this means the monthly payment jumps from €80 to somewhere between €290 and €400 per month. We've seen it go as high as €530. The financial shock is real, but the psychological one is worse. People build their pricing, their service fees, and their entire lifestyle budget around an €80 cost. When that cost quadruples overnight in month 13, it creates a cash flow crisis. It's the moment many expats question if staying in Spain is worth it. You must treat the Tarifa Plana as a temporary bonus. From day one, your financial projections and pricing must be based on the real, long-term social security cost of at least €300 per month. Anything less is setting yourself up for failure. Let's break down the real, all-in costs to operate your business in Spain. For an Autonomo, your monthly fixed costs are your social security and your gestoria. Expect social security to settle around €300 a month after the Tarifa Plana ends. A reliable gestoria on the Costa del Sol will cost between €70 and €150 per month. So your fixed operational overhead is about 400 to 450 euros monthly before you've made a single euro. On top of that, you have your quarterly tax payments. This includes a prepayment of your personal income tax, the Modello 130, which is typically 20% of your profit. You also file IVA, or VAT, with the Modello 303. The most critical habit you can build is creating a separate tax buffer bank account. Every time a client pays you, immediately transfer 35% of that invoice into your tax account. This isn't your money. It belongs to the Hacienda. For an SL, the costs are higher. The one-time setup cost is significant, often between 4,000 and 4,500 euros to cover the notary, registry fees, and professional advice. Your ongoing monthly gestoria fees will be much higher, typically between 250 and 500 euros, because the accounting is far more complex. The structure is more robust, but it comes with a significant administrative and financial burden that only makes sense at higher profit levels. In most countries, an accountant is someone you speak to once a year to file your taxes. In Spain, your gestor or gestoria is an ongoing operational partner, and choosing the right one is the most important decision you will make. A bad gestor is just a data entry clerk. You send them your invoices, and they plug the numbers into the government forms. They are reactive, they don't offer advice, and they will let you make expensive mistakes. A good gestor, however, is a proactive advisor. They do 3 things. First, compliance. They file everything correctly and on time. Second, interpretation. They understand your specific business and tell you how Spanish tax law applies to it, what expenses are deductible, and how to handle international clients. Third, and most important, is planning. A good gestor will warn you when the tarifa plana is about to end. They will tell you when your income is approaching the level where an SL becomes more tax efficient. They will help you navigate the system. On the Costa del Sol, there are hundreds of gestorias aimed at expats. Be wary of the cheapest options, those charging 30 or 40 euros a month. This is a volume business model that cannot provide personal advice. A realistic budget for a quality, responsive gestor for an Autonomo is between 70 and 150 euros per month. Think of it not as a cost, but as an investment against future fines and missed opportunity. The rhythm of self-employment in Spain is not annual, it is quarterly. This is a fundamental shift in mindset and cash flow management that catches many new arrivals by surprise. You must account for and pay your taxes 4 times a year. The deadlines are non-negotiable and land on the 20th of the month following the end of a quarter. That means April 20th is the deadline for quarter 1 filings, July 20th for quarter 2, October 20th for quarter 3, and January 20th for quarter 4 of the previous year. For each deadline, your gestor will typically file 2 key forms for you. The Modello 303, which declares the IVA you've collected versus the IVA you've paid, and the Modello 130, which is your 20% advance payment on your income tax. This relentless cycle means you can never relax on your bookkeeping. You must be organized every single month. It also means that the summer holiday season on the Costa del Sol collides directly with major tax deadlines. The July 20th deadline for quarter 2 comes when business might be slowing down, and the October deadline isn't far behind. You cannot afford a slow month leading up to a tax payment. This system forces you to become an expert in your own cash flow, which is stressful, but ultimately makes you a better business owner. Let's walk through the high-level process of registering as an Autonomo. While we recommend using a gestor to handle the specifics, it's crucial you understand the steps. First, you need the foundational elements in place: your NIE number, a Spanish bank account, and a digital certificate or clave access to interact with government websites. The process officially begins at the Hacienda, the tax office. You or your gestor will file a Modello 036 or 037. This form tells the tax office who you are, where you operate from, and most importantly, what your business activity is. This is declared via a specific code called an epigrafe, which determines your tax obligations, like whether you need to charge IVA. Getting this code right is absolutely critical. Once you are registered with Hacienda, a 60-day clock starts ticking. Within this period, you must register with Social Security, the Tesorería General de la Seguridad Social. This is the step that officially enrolls you in the Autonomo system, known as RETA, and triggers your monthly Social Security payments. You can do this yourself, but a small mistake, especially in choosing your epigraphe, can cause major problems for years. A good Gestor will handle both registrations for a one-time fee of around 100 to 200 euros, ensuring you start on a solid and correct legal footing. What if you aren't a freelancer with multiple clients? What if you are a remote employee for a single company based in another country and you simply want to live and work from the Costa del Sol? For this specific situation, becoming Autonomo is often the wrong tool for the job. There is a better, more compliant third option that few people talk about: an employer of record, or EOR. An EOR is a Spanish company that acts as your legal employer in Spain on behalf of your foreign company. Here is how it works. The EOR signs a contract with your real employer, and then the EOR signs a proper Spanish employment contract with you. They handle everything: your monthly payroll, your income tax withholdings, and your social security contributions as an employee, not as an autonomo. You get a normal Spanish payslip, or nómina, every month. The advantage is total simplicity and compliance. You are a regular employee in the eyes of the Spanish system, with all the associated rights and benefits, without any of the quarterly tax filings or business admin. The downside is the cost. EOR services can be expensive, often several hundred euros per month, a fee your employer typically pays. But if your role is truly that of an employee, not a contractor, an EOR is the cleanest lowest friction way to work legally in Spain.